Legal separation. Legal separation is actually a proceeding under the California Family Law Act, which is very similar to a dissolution proceeding with several significant differences. A legal separation is an action which requires the court to determine property, determine support, determine child custody, but not terminate the marriage. So in that regard, it is exactly the same thing as a dissolution proceeding, except you're not restored to the status of a single person. It is frequently not used and would only be used if some people have a problem with having their marriage dissolved. Unfortunately, some people in the past have used that as a way to maintain certain insurance benefits. Unfortunately, some insurance companies have now caught wind of this, and if there's a degree of legal separation, they're treating it the same thing as a dissolution. And as you know, if you are a spouse and have medical coverage as a dependent, you're entitled to maintain that as long as you are married. Some insurance companies now realize that a legal separation is the equivalent of a dissolution for purposes of their contract. It is frequently not used, and even though I have been a lawyer for 50 years, I haven't had a legal separation proceeding for the last 40. However, people sometimes refer to the fact that they are, open quote, legally separated. That is a misnomer. In a dissolution proceeding, you can be living separate and apart and consider yourself separated, but you are not legally separated until a court determines what's called the date of separation. So you're not legally separated just because you're living separate and apart. You're only legally separated if you get that piece of paper that's called a decree of legal separation. Frequently, the date of separation is a contested matter in dissolution proceedings. That could be the termination or determining point of when community property starts and stops. It is very important to realize that you do not have a date of legal separation until there is a written agreement where the court determines what your date of separation is. So therefore, the fact that you are living separate and apart does not mean that you are legally separated, and if the legal separation date is contested, you don't have a date of separation until you have that judgment or agreement that says you were actually separated on a date certain.